Why, hello. I'm Andy, and I'm here at downtown Largo Station, formerly known as Largo Town Center Station, at the eastern terminus of the DC Metro's Blue and Silver lines. Today we're going to be riding all the way to Franconia-Springfield on the train just like that, looking at the hidden histories, facts, and secrets that you may not know about surrounding the DC Metro's Blue Line. So join me, ride with me, and let's begin this journey.
Welcome to Secrets of the Blue Line. The Blue Line runs from downtown Largo to Franconia-Springfield, interlining with both the orange and silver lines through the DC core, as well as with the yellow line in Virginia. We begin our Blue Line journey at downtown Largo, admiring, right off the bat, the Largo Lens by Ray King. The station itself uses the more modern architectural style of the early 2000s stations that include Noma Gallaudet University on the Red Line and Morgan Boulevard, our next station. So let's hop on this train and get our journey started. Leaving downtown Largo, we cross the Beltway, and in doing so, ride over our first secret, as the bridge over I-495 is named for Maryland State Senator Decatur Bucky Trotter, who was integral in ensuring the extension of the Blue Line to downtown Largo and Morgan Boulevard. One of Senator Trotter's lasting influences was having this extension have minimal interruption to its surrounding neighborhoods. This is evident here in Summerfield Park, where the tracks quietly go in a shallow tunnel, with the park covering up most, if not all, evidence of the heavy rail system below. Now we arrive at Morgan Boulevard, the closest station to the FedEx Field football stadium, and home to our second piece of artwork on the Blue Line.
I'm standing here at the south entrance of the Morgan Boulevard station in front of what I think is one of the coolest art installations not only on the Blue Line, but in the entire metro system. It's called Stop and Go, a 2004 installation by Athena Tacha, meant to evoke the stop and go system invented by Garrett A. Morgan, the namesake of the Morgan Boulevard station. The lines and poles that you see behind me, well, they're meant to evoke that stop and go system, which was the precursor to the traffic light, which is why Garrett A. Morgan is commonly known as the father of the traffic signal. Now, one other fun fact, the lines you see on the ground, and the poles as well, are actually stylized in the colors of the metro lines. So to continue our journey, let's go over to the Blue Line.
After passing a unique section of at-grade track covered in metal grating, we arrive at Addison Road, the first station named alphabetically in the entire Metro Rail system. If you're here, take a moment to look up and admire the unique clock tower right outside of the station entrance. After leaving Addison Road, we reach our first underground station, Capitol Heights, and continue through Benning Road Station to emerge above ground, crossing the Anacostia River and joining tracks with the Orange Line. This elevated portion gives fantastic views of DC. You can also see the now abandoned RFK Stadium, the namesake of our next station, Stadium-Armory, a station in many ways still stuck in the past. A large banner hangs over the station's north entrance, advertising the way to the abandoned RFK Stadium. Additionally, signage still directs people to the now demolished DC General Hospital, which closed in 2001. After Stadium-Armory, we continue to make our way westbound towards Capitol Hill, traveling through several trunk stations on the Blue Line. As we pass through these stations, it's worth mentioning that Potomac Avenue, Eastern Market, Capitol South, and Federal Center Southwest, as well as Benning Road and Capitol Heights stations, share the same island platform layout with waffle-style architecture design, each sporting a single surface entrance. These stations are good examples of the design consistency present in many metro stations. Our next station, however, breaks this consistency as we arrive at L'Enfant Plaza. L'Enfant Plaza has more lines stopping here than any other station in the metro system, where blue, orange, and silver line passengers can transfer to the green and yellow lines. Other than being a fantastic transfer station, it also hosts 2 photographs of dogs in spacesuits, done by William Wegman, installed in 2005. L'Enfant Plaza also features 31 escalators, the most of any station on the metro system. At the top of these escalators, you'll find a mezzanine leading to nowhere, perhaps a provision for an unbuilt entrance to the station. And finally, L'Enfant Plaza is the first station on our journey to have a connection to the Virginia Railway Express, or VRE, commuter rail system, which is located just around the corner from the metro station. At our next stop, Smithsonian, ever popular with DC tourists, we'll ascend the escalators onto the National Mall to talk about our next secret.
I'm standing here on a spot that many Americans will recognize. That is, of course, the National Mall. But I'm also standing on top of the Smithsonian Metro Station. Now, the current entrance to the station is just off to the side of the mall, but the original plans by Harry Weiss were to have the entrance in the middle of it, with passengers exiting on the escalators and being confronted by the view we have right here. Now, the National Park Service wasn't too happy about having an entrance in the exact center of the mall, and for that reason, that's why the current entrance is off to the side.
And speaking of the current entrance, this space is dedicated to Carmen E. Turner, the Metro General Manager from 1983 to 1990, and the first black woman to head a major urban transit system in the United States. During her tenure as GM, she expanded Metro from 42 miles and 47 stations to 73 miles and 63 stations. The original memorial at the escalator bank, installed in 1995, will soon be replaced with a more illustrative and permanent display in the station's mezzanine. At our next stop, Federal Triangle, you'll find this flat wall panel mysteriously floating next to the mezzanine. This panel is provision for a possible second entrance for the station. Also at this station, you'll find a true contender for Metro's shortest escalators. These lead to a direct connection into the Ronald Reagan Center, and up on street level, you'll find yourself at one of the more beautiful, if not hidden, entrances in the system, embedded into the neoclassical architecture of the Federal Triangle. We pass by Metro Center, already covered in our Secrets of the Red Line video, and arrive at our next station, McPherson Square. At McPherson Square's west exit, you'll find Addison Carl's 2019 mural In Service, dedicated to this country's veterans. And at the station's east exit, you'll find the aptly named Metro Variety Store, catching commuters on their way into and out of the station. Our next station is Farragut West, where you'll find at the east entrance the Farragut Spheres, a 2012 installation by Michael N. Servet that features 20 wall-mounted glowing discs lining the walls of this station's entrance. Passing through Foggy Bottom, we cross the Potomac, hitting our first station in Virginia, Rosslyn. Rosslyn is one of the more spectacular stations in the system thanks to a split-level island platform design allowing the blue line and the orange and silver lines to diverge from each other in a flying junction. Rosslyn is also one of the deepest stations in the system and the deepest station not on the red line, with an escalator to match. It's also one of the stations that has physically changed the most since opening, as evidenced by one of the few pieces of abandoned infrastructure in the system, a defunct elevator shaft protruding from the middle of the escalators. The elevator had its own fare gate at platform level and used to lead to both the street level and to a skybridge connected to the Rosslyn Metro Mall, complete with its own pylon. The elevator shaft now leads nowhere, being replaced with a new elevator bank instead of fare gates, which opened in 2013. At the top of the escalator bank, however, you'll still find the wonderful Scenes of Rosslyn, a mural by Y. David Chung, pointing out the various landmarks of this neighborhood. We say goodbye to the orange and silver lines and come above ground, reaching the Arlington Cemetery station, unique for many reasons. It's one of the most serene stations in the system, with pleasant natural surroundings and a unique layout that leads you literally right to the cemetery. But beyond the setting and layout, Arlington Cemetery is the only station in the system to close early, closing at 7 p.m. in the winter and 10 p.m. in the summer. After those hours, the train will roll right through. After our brief foray above ground, we descend again and reach Pentagon, the only other station in the system besides Rosslyn to feature the split-level island platform design. This accommodates another flying junction where the Yellow Line joins us from across the Potomac River. It's also at Pentagon where you'll find an abandoned entrance once allowed for an in-station connection to the Pentagon, but was closed for security reasons in 2001. And finally, come down to the southbound platform of Pentagon and walk all the way to the southern end, and you'll see a mysterious tunnel, seemingly branching off to nowhere. This was a provision for a branch line along Columbia Pike, which is yet to be built. At our next station, Pentagon City, you'll find two unique entrances, one leading to the Fashion Center at Pentagon City, and an entrance leading to offices on the eastern side of South Hayes Street, unique with its own interesting porthole architecture. And here's one more secret. Come down to the southern end of the platforms to find knockout panels, provisions for another mezzanine and another exit for this station. Our next station, Crystal City, only has one surface entrance, but is intertwined with the Crystal City Underground, a network of underground shops and restaurants that stretches over 5 blocks. Speaking of which, Crystal City is technically a transfer station to the current VRE station using the Crystal City Underground. However, this does require some maneuvering to walk between the two stations. And for reference, here's a somewhat lengthy walk between the two stations. The station is also expected to get a new surface entrance at the corner of 18th Street South and Crystal Drive, with designs in the works. The new entrance will offer a better connection to northbound Metroway buses and a newly relocated Crystal City VRE station. Our next station, National Airport, is one of two stations in the entire system to have a metal track, owing to its former status as a terminus for the Blue Line. The station is also unique for having two different architectural canopy styles on the same platform.
One question that I've always wondered about here at National Airport is where's the pylon? And for that, you're going to have to follow me to this elevator. So that elevator led me to a third, lesser-known entrance to National Airport Station, which you can see behind me, that can only be accessed by elevator. And if you walk outside the entrance and come to where I'm standing right now, you'll find the station's pylon.
Heading south of National Airport, we ride straight through what will soon be Metro's newest station, the infill station at Potomac Yard, set to open in May of 2023.
Now I'm currently standing in front of DC Metro's newest station, Potomac Yard, which is set to open today at 5 a.m. Once they let us inside the station, which should be in just a few minutes, we'll take a tour and also look at some of the secrets of the DC Metro's brand new station. Now, of course, we're standing on the actual platform of Potomac Yard Station. The first train, the first Yellow Line train, just rolled right through. The first Blue Line train, a little more relevant to our video, also rolled right through just a few minutes ago. Now that the station's open, we'll be taking a quick tour, although we might wait until the sun's in the sky, so things are a little brighter here. But from the first glance, a beautiful station.
Potomac Yard's design is totally unique in the Metro system. It was partially inspired by the Thorn Crone Chapel, a non-denominational chapel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which was built in 1980. The station itself has 3 entrances, 2 on the west side and 1 on the east side. The 2 west side entrances, connected via pedestrian bridges over the existing mainline railroad tracks, feature artwork by Rob Lay. At the northern entrance pod, you'll find field walking, meant to evoke cherry blossoms, a hallmark of the DC region. And at the southern entrance pod, you'll soon find a piece called A Subtle Trip, to be installed in the coming months and will similarly evoke Virginia bluebells. The third, eastern exit is totally unique. As an elevator-only entrance, it leads to an ultra-wide shared-use path that connects to the Potomac Greens Park to the south and doubles as fire access for the station. And lastly, thinking back to Metro's other info station at Noma Gallaudet University on the Red Line, one might be wondering if there are any abandoned tracks at Potomac Yard. The right-of-way currently in use at Potomac Yard was shifted east to allow trains using the original rail alignment to bypass construction for the station. However, these tracks have since been completely removed, with the only evidence of the old right-of-way being this gap between the mainline tracks and the new station. After Potomac Yard, we pass through Braddock Road and arrive at King Street Old Town, located adjacent to the historic VRE and Amtrak station, seeing a variety of commuter and intercity trains throughout the day. The King Street Old Town Metro station, along with its neighboring Braddock Road station, feature a distinctive roof design, more ornamental and less brutalist than the other Metro stations, designed to match the more historic character of Alexandria. The roofs at King Street Old Town, however, are split in two, with a seemingly mysterious gap between the southern and northern entrances. The reason? Let's go to the street level to find out. And now we've moved a little further away from the station, a little further down King Street, where you can see the reason why they kept the two canopies separate. That was to preserve the sightline along King Street to the George Washington Masonic Memorial. South of King Street Old Town, the yellow line splits. Staying on the blue line, however, we'll head west. After passing Van Dorn Street Station, we finally arrive at the last stop on the blue line. We've reached Franconia-Springfield over 30 miles from our start in downtown Largo, all the way in Fairfax County. Now, this station has a connection to the VRE, just like Alexandria, L'Enfant Plaza, and Crystal City. The VRE station also serves an additional purpose, providing a second, more hidden access point to the station. Crossing the VRE tracks to the station's northbound platform, you'll find a shared use path that takes you to this little cul-de-sac, technically a metro entrance. So now we've made it to our last station on the blue line, Franconia-Springfield. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey, and until the next video, I'll see you on the Metro.